Welcome back. Love Boat Project episode 28. With me, all as always, my co-host Mike Robertson. Ahoy, Mike. How are you this
Hi,
week?
Mike. How are you?
Great.
Are you ready
Great.
for my impeccable impressions of multiple cast members this week?
Really? Is this okay? Yeah. No, but yeah. I'm
I
excited, but
really,
I don't
I
know if I'm
really
ready.
wanted to listen to it one more time before we started because I feel like I can nail it, but maybe not, and I've really overhyped it now, so the
We'll
pressure is
see.
on.
We'll see. With us this episode is our very first guest and our very first two-time guest, our good friend Jamie, the cruise ship Casanova. I see there. I see there. That's a very appropriate. And I love the shirt.
Thank you. Thanks for
Very
having me.
nice. So much has happened since you've been gone. Since we saw you last, we've seen male dogs having puppies. We met a plumber that's a poet. So many bayos, and there was a monkey on board for a while. Crazy. You missed quite a bit, but we're very glad to have you back.
Glad to be
Those were
here.
high.
And we are here to talk about the Love Boat Season 2, Episode 3, titled A Different Girl, The Man Who Loved Women, and Oh My Aching Brother. Original air date, September 30th, 1978. You know what? I find that the numbering of this season's a little weird because of that two-parter. It's really, when you go to look for something, they really get confused.
Yeah, yeah, and I think later in the season we're gonna have something where some of them listed as one and some of it listed as another. So stay
Why?
tuned for all sorts of logistical hijinks.
But if I'm not mistaken, didn't they in the first episode was 2 episodes? Didn't they do like the theme twice? So it
Yes.
really is 2 episodes?
But I don't know if that's the case when they like do it live,
I see.
like in 1978. We are obviously watching some sort of copy of a copy. So
Interesting. And I'll
because you're
tell you,
too lazy to go back and find
yeah,
the original
yeah,
ABC broadcast copy.
exactly.
Yeah,
And I gotta tell you,
tonight on the Love Boat.
Love Boat is a juggernaut ratings wise right now. They're pulling in on average between 13 and 14 million viewers per episode. I mean,
Jesus.
they're huge, huge. I mean,
And what
granted,
is
how
that,
many?
like
What's up?
20th?
Yeah, and they
It's like
weren't even in the
20th.
top 10. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were like 11 or 14 or something like that. Somewhere in the they weren't even like the. It was like 60 Minutes was always big, or who knows. Maybe it's the TV movie on this week. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in a second. So what else was on that night? Well, I'm glad you asked. What a great segue that was. On CBS at 9 o'clock, a show that Mike you just introduced me to, The American Girls, the second episode of the season,
Second of 11, if
second
I
of
remember
11.
correctly. So it's a
CBS had
limited
this
run.
show to put up against The Love Boat. If I'm not mistaken, it was like female journalists.
Yeah, two
adventure
basically.
and-
Speaking of 60 Minutes, it was basically two female 60 Minutes type correspondents who get into all sorts of crazy mix-em-ups.
Was it like Henrietta Reasoner?
Yeah, it was just Mike Wallace in a dress. Yeah,
Michelle Story,
yeah.
Michelle Schaefer, Morley Safer. On NBC at 9 o'clock, there's a TV movie on, and this one looks what you know. What this is a movie. I'm sorry, not a TV movie. This is a movie. Movie is called The Missouri Breaks. Get this cast is just amazing. Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson, Randy Quaid, and Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh my God.
Right?
Who's the most normal person on that cast?
That's a great question. That's a wild lineup. Brief synopsis of the movie: a flamboyant gunman is hired by a wealthy rancher to drive off a gang of horse thieves. Just so.
All right.
Who's the rancher? Who's the horse?
So my
Who's
guess,
the flamboyant gunman? I mean,
my guess is Brando's the rancher. Nicholson's the gunman.
He's the
Harry-
flamboyant gunman.
Harry. He's just doing the Joker, but like 30 years early.
He has like
Harry
a
Dean
pencil.
Stanton is the main horse thief. Is that what the criminals were doing?
Horse thief. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Randy Quaid is like the ogre.
The reluctant bad guy. Like he's
No, I don't know
too
if he's
dumb
reluctant. I
to
think
do
he's
the
the
right thing.
muscle. I think he's the one who's like ripping off horse stall doors.
Oh, like that guy that loaded that light bulb in The Longest Yard, like the original. What was his name? He blew that guy up.
Yes.
Oh no, not Chappie. Remember, it was that whole. He was the assistant coach. It was a terrible scene. All right, so moving on. There, you don't want to synopsis. We're gonna go back to synopsis. We're gonna skip synopsis for now because
Okay.
Anything to share? Anything to discuss before we get to the guest stars, Mike or Jamie? Show wise here.
Jamie, you're the guest. Is there anything you want to hit before we go?
Nothing I need to touch upon. I have been told once I look like Sonny Bono, so let's get that out of the way. I think it's just the mustache and hair. But yeah,
fair enough.
One note I had, Mike, and maybe it's better if the synopsis, but I took a dive into our writers this week. Couple notes. So the woman who wrote A Different Girl is named Cynthia Santillo, and this is the only Love Boat episode she ever writes. But she wrote 170 something episodes of Mary Hartman, which was that like fake soap opera kind of show or whatever. Pretty cutting edge for the time. And I thought that was pretty interesting because A Different Girl is a very different Love Boat storyline. And I think it kind of showed that it was like, oh yeah, this is what happens when you get a real television writer who comes in and does one episode and doesn't stick to your adultery's fine nonsense. So
that was a wild storyline. That was a wild storyline for the Love Boat. That was a little risky.
I think I have a note at one point when that whole scene really kicks off. It's just like, here we go.
Yeah, you could. Well, let me ask you then. So that guy the person who played Bosley, I'm sorry, that's not fair. David Doyle, he played Alvin McNair. How old? I'd like to get a sense. How old do you think these people were in this episode? They play with age a lot in the late 70s, so it's really hard to. I don't have the answer, but I Alvin McNair can't be younger than 50.
I wouldn't think so, but you hear all the time. It's like, oh, George Costanza was 35 in the first episode or whatever whatever it is. It's like I think people just acted and were spiritually older at the time.
It's wild.
I feel like that guy is going to, when we look it up, he's going to end up being like 47, and he looks 59.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
But we've run into this a lot. Old looked different back then.
Very much so.
So.
And oftentimes they would like make the women seem older than they really were in order to make the men seem younger than they really were.
Which I feel like they were at least using younger women who were supposed to be older. I don't know if they necessarily made them look older as his, love interest.
That's a good question. I guess I don't know. They're just we're looking for young women with really old faces. That's what we need. That'll make ABC happy. So guest stars this week, and again we're back. So now they have the portholes. When you last joined the show, it was pre-porthole. You would kind of see the guest stars when they were throwing the confetti. Right. This season we kicked off with portholes, which
very exciting.
It's very, very exciting. So in alphabetical order this week, we've got Bess Armstrong. There wasn't much on her, just tons of TV appearances. Like there's a lot of them like that. Sonny Bono, again, we know singer-songwriter, actor, politician. Fun fact. After his death, his wife Mary said that he tried to break away from the Church of Scientology, but they made it impossible for him. Fun fact. I didn't know he was.
I didn't know he was part of the Scientology. Yeah,
I didn't know. Catherine Damon played Charlotte. Charlotte, one of the Charlotte's who? Is Charlotte McNeil or is it Charlotte
Charlotte
Cornelius
is
or Vincent?
Charlotte is not
Vincent.
Cleopatra. What the hell's Cornelius?
Cornelius.
Yeah.
Best known as Mary Campbell in the TV show Soap. She won an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series in 1980 for her role on Soap. So she's kind of a big deal.
So fun fact with her, we are now up to like 500 people from Soap.
It's crazy. It's
I'm
crazy.
convinced that Soap just shoots on the same set, like behind. Like if you walk behind the Love Boat set, it's just
There
the
it
Soap
is.
living room. She's like the 7th or 8th Soap person that we.
Well, last week we had the second Bayo, and he was
on Soap.
He was on Soap. Like everybody.
Who's the other
and
Bayo?
we have Billy Crystal coming up in a
What was
couple
his name?
weeks.
Todd Bayo?
Jimmy
Bayo.
Sounds like you're making up a Bayo. I can't believe I didn't know there was
Jimmy Bayo from El Paso, Texas.
He's from El Paso, Texas. Not a part of the witness protection program at all. He couldn't be more.
A cool note about Catherine Damon. So when she won her Emmy, Richard Mulligan also won. And
for Night
for
Court?
For Soap. Richard Mulligan.
Richard Mulligan?
Yeah.
I get them mixed up all the time.
Yeah, same guy. Richard Mulligan, star of episode 3 that Jamie was on. See, tying it all back together.
Oh, look at that.
And then when he won his second Emmy for Empty Nest, she had already passed away, and he gave her a nice tribute during the speech. So class guy there, Richard Mulligan.
Yeah, I like Richard Mulligan. That's interesting. David Doyle as
born in
Alvin
1929.
Really?
Yes. So that makes him 48, 49. So.
I don't need it. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Obviously, I remember as Bosley from Charlie's Angels, and he was on every episode of that show. That dude didn't call in sick one day.
He knew.
He knew. He was on that train. They were going to replace him. Yeah, what are they going to find another guy that looks like he's in his mid-50s, but's really in his late 40s that can do this? He shows up and he's never late. Come on. My favorite, my most interesting fact this week is about Grant Goodeve as Dave Stanton. Best known for his role as David Bradford on 8 is Enough.
I knew I recognized him.
Here, fun fact, he also sang the theme song for 8 is Enough.
Pulling what's Growing Pains guy?
Theme song of 8 is Enough.
Did Robin Thicke sing the theme song to Growing Pains?
He should. I think he should. He
wrote it.
He did write it.
What is the theme song to 8 is Enough? I actually don't know.
I don't know it. Wow.
Could have been that good.
It could have been that good. It's not that memorable. Sorry, Grant Goodeve.
I got a lot of problems with Grant. I actually think Grant Goodeve was a good actor, but that character, thank you.
No, just weird.
Not my captain.
No. I got a lot to say. Yeah. Marty Ingalls plays Joe Nash, actor, comedian, comedy writer, agent. Judy Landers, TV people, Joanne Flugg, lots of TV appearances. Same for Brett Summers. So let me get started. Let me read the synopsis, and you tell me if this synopsis is good, synopsis is bad, because we've seen both. Womanizing Alvin McNair hits on 3 women but doesn't know they're together. I mean, it's factual.
Is he a womanizer?
Yeah. What?
I guess that's how you. Well,
womanizer has a negative connotation.
Yeah, but I don't think that
you find out that he's not.
Would they have used that word in the 70s? I don't think.
Womanizer?
So. No.
You don't think so?
It just seems like
horn dog.
They're really framing them. You know what I mean? I just don't. Womanizing Alvin McNair hits on 3 women but doesn't know they're together.
He's just a man who loves women, Mike.
He's just a man who loves women.
He's guilty of anything.
Some might say he helps women
too much. Yeah.
But
Meryl's godson Dave Stanton brings his wife Laura on a belated honeymoon. Brothers Harold and Joe Nash plot to fake a back injury and sue the cruise line. I mean, factual, not a lot of flavor in that, but
No, but that was I think that was pretty accurate. We've seen ones that are either bury the lead or just are straight up wrong. So I think that was pretty good.
yeah, it just makes no sense at all. All right, let's get into it. Anything else before we get on the boat?
Judy Landers is from Philadelphia.
She's been on tons of things.
She's from Philadelphia, and she also is married to former Dodgers relief pitcher Tom Niedenfuer.
That's a mouthful.
That is. Tom Niedenfuer gave up game-winning home runs in back-to-back playoff losses for the Dodgers. So,
jeez.
and then he got Judy Landers. So good for you.
Good on him. Good on him. All right. Anything else before we hop on this boat?
Toot toot.
All right, here we go. We see Alvin McNair. Again, Sonny Bono. I'm sorry, not Sonny Bono. What am I saying?
Oh, man.
What am I doing?
Alvin McNair is the cruise ship
let me try
Casanova.
this again. I'm sorry. We see Alvin McNair. Because Bosley, I have it stuck in my head with the Bosley thing. We see Alvin McNair boarding the ship. And immediately he approaches Bonnie Stokes, which just, like, it was quick. It was quick. That guy, he was like doing it for
Did he try to steal her handbag?
That was weird.
It was like, because he was just careening from woman to woman, like physically. Like,
yeah.
Not to give it away, but doesn't she later say, like, she was hitting on him right away or something?
Yeah, they all were, which was like, that's why he's not womanizing. So.
Yeah, it's just, he asked her, can you meet me for drinks at 8? That's 1 at 8. She accuses him of being a cruise ship Casanova. Bam, bringing it all back. And Alvin admits that he is. She agrees and says that she'll see him at 8, and she calls him Vinny.
Yeah, so
like, where did the? Then I'm like, Alvin.
So he's like, my name is Alvin, but my friends call me, and then she goes Vinny, and then. So if he is a womanizer, this is the most evidence against him, right? Is that it starts to like drop different names in the off chance that these 3 women all are friends and staying in the same cabin, I guess.
Right.
But he did have a killer line. It was the wind in our hair, the moon in our fingertip.
Oh, no. He does sound a bit like Winnie the Pooh when he talks to people.
Well, it's funny because like it's got the lisp, but it's also got a little of the gravel, so it's like, yeah. So don't worry, I've got a lot of quotes of McNair that are just me kind of lisping. So,
oh god, unfortunately I have a lot of quotes from McNair as well. So I'd like to see where those roads cross. We see a couple boarding the ship, and immediately they go into a corner and start smooching. Like, maybe you finish the check-in process since your godfather is the captain of the ship. Like, can you not handle? Stop it. They weren't that lovey-dovey when they were behind closed doors. Really?
No. All show.
He's a lunatic. It's all show. All show.
And it's not like they just got married. They got married, and then this is their honeymoon, later. No offense to their love.
No, but is this where you go? You haven't seen your spouse in 2 years, fresh off the copter from Turkey, and you go to your godfather's free boat ride?
Well, I think that's a cheapskate. That's why.
Yeah.
What'd you do with all that money you made in Turkey?
I got another problem. I know this is Jimmy Carter's army. Get a haircut, Captain.
Oh, I was Googling like Army hair standards 1978 to see. This guy's so out of regulation, it's ridiculous. I don't even know where to start.
Like, just make him retired or something, man.
Yeah, don't like he's in, and they're. We'll get to it. Stubing says it's been 2 years. He says, "Oh, it's Stubing's godson." Blah blah blah. So it's been 2 years. We've got a lot to talk about. At this point, there's so much information being shared right off the bat because it was like he was in the army in Turkey, and then I'm like, the army in Turkey in the 70s, is that even a thing?
Civil War. I looked it up. They referred to it as a low level civil war, but like 5,000 people died. But it was over like a 5-year period, so it was a legit thing. They at least pulled a feasible skirmish to send Captain Dave to. So
okay.
They use CIA just like destabilizing the region.
Just dropping flyers from helicopters.
The problem is he's also planting other things in Turkey, so that's
right.
problem.
That's right. Yeah, if he admits to one, it's at least 5, and like I think that's like Turkey.
Well,
you know,
if you admit to one and don't have a problem with it,
sure. Yeah. Yeah, he was a little too. So yeah, it says he was in the army, and Laura didn't join him because her mother was ill. But why would she join him if it was
a military
civil
operation.
war? So like it's more like she couldn't, but in conjunction, she just happened to have a very sick mother for 2 years. I guess maybe
she would have gone over to visit, if not for I don't know. How's that work?
I don't know. Probably likely not. I would say likely not.
Turkish military bases in the 70s.
I mean, yeah, maybe there was an excuse. He was like, you can join me, and she was like, no, my mom is so sick. What's wrong with her? Oh, she got the flu again. Every day it's some new. For 2 years, he just never got the hint.
By this nauseous rag.
She's been trying to break up with him for 2 years, trying to end it. He just never got the hint, and now they end up on this stupid boat playing windy ping pong. Get out of here! Ridiculous. All right. We meet Harold Nash. Harold Nash, of course, played by Sonny Bono, and his brother Joe enter the ship. Joe goes to get their cabin number. Harold is making eyes at another passenger. We learn in a few minutes her name is Rita. Till Joe returns, and then they head right to their cabin. So you just kind of get to see that. Yes, sir.
Did you note which cabin the Nash brothers were assigned to?
I did not. I
did.
Is it the dog
Fiesta
room?
Deck 131. They have put that room back in circulation.
Oh, the dog room is clean finally.
So Jamie, long story short, Radar from MASH gets trapped in a room with a vicious security dog for the entire cruise, and the dog then has puppies. And there's no evidence anyone ever came in to clean the room. So we assumed they had retired the room, but they save it for scam artists, I guess. So
that's a real lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, they really missed the mark. Like having Legionnaires or something.
Connect the dots. Exactly. Yeah, something. Scabies. Give them some scabes. Something. Data bug. Something.
Fleas.
We now meet Charlotte as she enters the ship, and she's talking to Alvin McNair. She says, "Do you mind if I don't call you Al? It was my husband's name." And Alvin says, "Call me Cornelius." He's a little too quick with these fake names, by the way.
I assume Cornelius is his middle name. Does that cover him? I guess. I don't. Yeah.
Or he likes Planet of the Apes. That was out around this time.
Soul Train.
Or Soul Train, something. So now, just to recap, now he asked her out, makes a date with her at 3:00 to have some drinks. 2 dates, one at 3:00, one at 8:00. Vinny, Cornelius. All right, we're caught up. Enter Anita Carmichael, who's talking to Alvin, because it was a scene break here. And I was kind of surprised when the scene broke. When they came back, it was another Alvin Carmichael scene. They really were like in a race to set these dates up.
Yeah, we got to get it established quickly.
So enter Anita Carmichael. She's talking to Alvin. Makes a comment about her ex-husband. Oh, I feel like there's an impression coming because there were some things going on in this interaction. He asked her to join him for a late night dinner under the stars.
I don't have one here.
Yeah, we don't. They don't.
But it will
currently.
There will be Brent Summers later. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we can get some canned seafood. I don't know. Maybe same. He cuts his finger. Oh, he cuts his finger trying to open Anita's locked bag. And she said, when he asked her out, "You bled for me. The least I can do is break bread with you."
Which is from Braveheart, I think.
I mean, it makes sense to me. That makes sense.
It's
that
like
makes
Robert the Bruce, I think, said that. So.
It's a great. And then he says his name is McNair,
which I assumed was his actual last name. I think they credit him as
and he's so quick.
Alvin McNair.
Which they Ron Mexico, and he's so fast with it. Like he just. So now again, 3 women, 3 names: Vinny, Cornelius, and McNair. 3 dates: 1 at 3, 1 at 8, 1 at 10.
And very easily to just separate the 3 because you have a widow, you have a single lady, and you have a divorcee.
That 8 to
10 all into place for Alvin.
You're cutting it close to 8 to 10.
Yeah,
like that's a little. The first one you got a 5-hour window. 8 to 10.
I mean, it worked out, but yeah, I agree.
He must think he's like, I'm gonna get another one at 12. He just figured these women are quick work.
It's like you don't turn down. You don't turn down work, right? Like
no. No.
You figure it out.
Oh, this guy. Imagine if he didn't meet these women. He'd be off at every stop that the Love Boat makes, just putting up numbers.
He attacked multiple women before he met the cast members. Like it was like
he sure did. Julie would have loved him. Older.
They never did run Julie by him. Yeah.
They probably kept him separated on purpose. She can't help herself.
There might have been.
You are the enchanting of the sea.
There might have been more women. We just might not have seen them. He might have been setting up date. He had 1 at 5, 1 at 7.
True.
We didn't see his day planner.
Yeah,
because it was full. He's meeting all these women by act. He's stalking them all. He's got a lot going on, man.
That's why there's a bit of an icy interactions between him and Doc, because I think Doc was Doc respected it in a way, was jealous of it in a way.
A little bit of haterade.
Was definitely waiting for it all to implode so he could swoop in and pick up the.
He could go. Here's how you fix it. Let me give you the exact same advice that Captain Stubing just gave someone else, and it failed miserably. Horrible. So Gopher sees Alvin's made all 3 dates, tells Doc that all 3 women are traveling together. Wow, wow. And I love
that was my delivery by Gopher.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was so key. Harold and Joe Nash in their cabin rehearsing a stage accident so they can collect $50,000. Which I don't know, it made me giggle. This is a lot to go through and a lot to risk. I don't know if it's a lot to risk. $50,000 just seemed like a low number to me in terms of like lawsuit.
Well, how much does a cough drop salesman make?
About $49,999. Just one. Yeah, that is funny. I did write that down.
What do you think the day-to-day of a cough drop salesman is? Like, are you selling to stores? Are you selling to sick people door to door?
We hit the streets at Cough brand cough drops. If I see someone cough and I go, "Would you want to try one of my cough drops?" I just look for coughers. It's easy.
I did think it was pretty neat that Marty Ingalls was an initial member of the Guardian Angels with his red beret.
Am I missing something on Marty Ingalls? Should I know who he is or what?
So
can you fill me in?
I was like, that's a name I know. I definitely know
the
Marty
name.
Ingalls.
I don't know why.
I read 3 different things trying to see what I knew him from. And the only thing that even clicked for me was he was eventually married to Shirley Jones of the Partridge Family.
Was he on those episodes ever?
I don't. If he was, it wasn't like a regular. He married her after Jack Cassidy died, which that's a whole nother thing. We'll talk about that one if Shirley Jones ever shows up. Wow. But no, he didn't have. I don't know why I know the name unless it was like, oh, he's Shirley Jones's husband. So
he just looked familiar. Maybe it's one of those.
The name was familiar, but
Yeah, Harold's having second thoughts. He says, "Do you want to be a cough drop salesman for the rest of your life?" It's funny. I've never heard that anyone ask that question to anyone before.
I don't think those words have been uttered since or
It's the
before.
only time. In the
It'd be funny
writers'
if
room,
that
they're
was
like, "I got an idea."
It'd be funny if that was like the 9th most popular job in 1978.
Fifth highest paying
Doctor,
job.
lawyer, Turkish army captain,
Cough drop
cough
salesman.
drop salesman.
Joe asked Harold to put more heart and agony in his performance. Harold hits his nose. He like hits him to nose because he's just, it's physical comedy, and tells him that there's no money in broken noses. Wow. I gotta say, I worked somewhere years ago, and I witnessed somebody try to fake a work injury, and they legit got hurt trying to fake the injury, but it wasn't the injury they tried to. The guy saw someone fall off like one of those forklift things. Like, it wasn't crazy high, but the whole thing was just rigged to look terrible but not hurt at all. Like it was a work. It was a shoot. It was a work. And this guy got hurt terribly trying to fake it, and it was all on video, and it was all his fault the way he was doing it. He was much like Harold. He was counting his chickens way before they're much like Joe. He was counting his chickens.
Harold ended up getting way more out of this than Joe did.
I mean, maybe we didn't see what happened in the end, though. We don't know where they are now.
Joe has been permanently banned from any Merrill Stooping voyage. So.
Never again. You can never come back to this port or Montauban. Three ladies who have dates with Alvin, they're talking about their exes over outdoor drinks. According to these educated love boat eyes, I see 2 Planters Punch, and I see 1 Pina Colada. That's what I see.
Very, very nicely done.
Trying to look at these, but I also see now is no one ever finishes a drink on this cruise.
No,
ever,
except that
dumb
woman that was married to and Bob Crane.
Yeah,
Bob Crane
drank.
And look what happened. They killed him for it.
Yeah, they got rid of him. You're too good, Bob Crane. They're just talking, and they all confess that they already have dates. Just kind of setting it up. We next see David Doyle and Laura unpacking in their cabin. Here we go. Ugh. She tells Dave that he seems more commanding, which I didn't know. I thought that was such a weird thing, because then I was like, is that a compliment? I don't know if that's a compliment, or is that like a statement?
I thought it was a compliment. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it?
No, go ahead, Jamie.
It seemed like when she said it, I thought it was a compliment, but in what follows, it seems to be more of like a foreshadowing of like his traditional views or something.
Yeah, it was weird.
I think, and I don't think anything happens in the episode that makes me change my mind. These two got married too young, and they'll probably stay together for 5 or 6 years, and it'll end in a horrible divorce, and a poor child will be born for no reason. And it's
the best thing that could happen is for them to break up,
right?
But it's for the health of their lives moving forward. They need someone to go. Yeah.
Did you not write a letter? Do they not have phones in the Turkish Civil War? Like, it almost felt like they were time warped from the day they got married and to this, and they didn't. I mean, I think Dave's dumb as a bag of hammers, to be fair.
Oh, she's no.
Don't you start ripping on Lauren? Nope. She's going to be the new store buyer, sir. Thank you very much. They don't give those jobs to idiots.
What about taking care of her mother? She said she was too busy to go over there because she was taking care of her mother, but she wasn't too busy to do a job, and she travels to the city to go there. She didn't say that, but I felt like it was implied.
You're really putting it on Lauren there.
Yeah, I put it all on her.
City? We don't even know where they're from.
Metropolis. You know what I mean? Any town, USA.
She works at the Daily Planet.
The big city. Dave says that the army does that to you when she says that. And again, it's almost is like he's saying it like a bad. I don't know. It's weird.
I have a military question.
Yeah.
Because I think these guys said they're 24, right?
Yeah, I got that too.
Is he young for a captain?
You have to have a 4-year degree, and then you go in as like a lieutenant. It's a little it's a little too young. Yeah, I would say. But I mean, in the 70s, I think that they
Jimmy
were
Carter's army.
losing so many people. To be totally honest with you, that
Yeah.
it was that way out of necessity. You know.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like my last company I was at. It was like, oh, like the people who were doing the jobs left, so looks like these people are now doing those jobs.
Exactly.
Congratulations, CEO.
Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah.
Get you a shiny bracelet. Yeah.
Shout out to the people who are not qualified for their positions at my last job.
Go shout out.
Sorry.
And every job.
There we go. Laura says that the past 2 years have been a crash course in maturity, and it just leads to some cabin smooching. So they're planting these seeds, of Dave being, like Mike said, dumb as a box of rocks, and Laura just a troublemaker through and through.
Why is she a troublemaker?
What?
I think she's an independent woman who's found her voice, Mike. You're a real Dave Stratton. You're a real Dave Stratton, I think.
Fair
Next
enough.
There.
You know, they just annoy me. You know, it's that thing where you
what, women or the couple?
No way. We see Rita again. That was the woman that Harold was making eyes at when he boarded the ship, playing shuffleboard on deck. Joe walks right across their shuffleboard game, which I don't know shuffleboard, but I felt like that's got to be kind of a jerk move.
Feels like it.
Like, why would you walk right over
or something, right?
Right. Or like bowling when the guy next to you is bowling. I think that's like frowned upon or something.
Yeah, it's not illegal. It's just
kind of like,
it's not okay.
You have to have the awareness to know that that's not cool.
It would have been great if the guy that Rita was with that just gets cucked and disappears for Sonny Bono. It would have been great if he got mad and hit Joe with a shuffleboard stick, and he's the one who got injured. See, twist.
I wish they would. I mean, it almost looked like Stubing's nephew without his glasses on, like he got LASIK in 1978 in a wig.
Courtney Stubing,
yeah, Courtney,
not the godson.
No, godson.
The future commander of the Turkish Civil War.
Look, I got LASIK in 1979, new hairstyle. But he was huge. I was wondering, I'm like, who the hell's this guy?
Yeah,
like,
what? Didn't even say it was his boyfriend or her boyfriend.
So she's with. Anyway, so Harold gets up. He's like, all right, here we go. He gets up. He walks across the shuffleboarded deck, and I'm like, again, this guy's gonna kill this guy, and it does the worst. I don't know what kind of fall that was supposed to be. It looked like maybe he hurt his ankle more than he hurt. I don't know. It just was, it was terrible.
Yeah. I don't think this fooled anybody, honestly, except Rita.
No, except just
Stupid,
of course.
Or a soccer ref or NBA ref.
Anybody.
He was flopping.
Didn't fool Isaac. No. Joe declares that everyone is a witness to the, quote, gross negligence of proper precautions on the ship. And we see Isaac going to get Doc.
It is funny because if they had actually done any research, there are a lot of unsafe spots on the boat.
I don't think that's one of them.
That's not one of them. Like, that pool is 2 feet deep and there's not a no diving sign. Like, just,
We have skeet shooting, and you picked a trip while someone else is playing. Come on.
You could date Julie.
Or you could tell her that her parents got divorced again. Just no. I
was supposed to say, I love that you guys now have this like wealth of reference material.
Yes.
Wait, since last time, you guys now have a lot of Love Boat in your minds. It's
Yeah,
nice.
I'm not even sure how much of it is actually fact to the Love Boat. I think we're making our own show in our head at this point. But
It's just as entertaining.
There's a whole mythology of these. It's funny. Well, because sometimes it's not. That's the irritation. Sometimes is when they don't, when they lack consistency in the storytelling, meaning on that character level. Like I know it's a dumb 1 hour show. I enjoyed the show watching it when I was a kid. I don't know why. I didn't understand it. There was just something about it that was enjoyable. But when you do watch it back, like we've been watching it back, it is interesting in the way that they start portraying the captain to the way he is now versus the Doc character versus now. Only a few of them have been consistent, I think. I think Julie's been pretty consistently, sporadically crazy, and that's fine. Isaac's been consistent. Gopher's been consistent. So 3 out of 5. I just get annoyed when they kind of get off track a little bit. Anyway,
fair.
You know. Oh, it ups 3 o'clock. Oh snap! It's 3 p.m. Date number 1: Cornelius and Charlotte.
Is it the first day?
First day, of course.
Jeez.
He's not wasting any time. They're having drinks at the bar, and Cornelius is dressed like he's going on some sort of safari. Like his name is Brian Fellows. He looks ridiculous. Like just head to toe safari. He offers a toast to health, love, money, and the time to enjoy them.
I mean, that's a good quote.
That's a good one.
And I will say this. I think by the end of the episode, I'm going to totally think he's a womanizer. Because first of all, he did pack a lot of outfits. There's a lot of costume changes, including later on what I think is the ugliest thing I've seen on this show. But we'll get to that.
I'm interested to see if we match on that one because there's something I noted.
But he seems to have tailored his approach here to the widow, obviously.
Yeah.
The money and time to enjoy it. And then he does the whole bit about, you obviously had a relationship with someone before and it worked out.
It worked out.
And there's no reason why you can't work out again. I've really lost the impression already, but
that's
I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, please. Charlotte says that things are moving too fast for her. Whoa. Because he put his hand, he was getting a little handsy, man. He don't even know.
He got 5 hours. He's got to go.
He's got to go. He does only have 5 hours. That's funny. He gives her his room number. But as she's leaving, she turns and says, "Thank you for making me realize that I can feel again." And in the back of his mind, he's like, "Oh, I got it. I got you. She'll be back. She'll be back."
Shit. 1 for 1. 1 for 1, Cornelius.
1 for 1, Cornelius. Home
I
run.
actually thought, as we kind of develop, I kind of thought they were going to end up together, even after he got caught. I kind of thought they were going to give him.
Because she got serious in that way. Like, thank you for.
Yeah, she's the widow and all that stuff. And he, tied her blouse back on or whatever the hell that move was in the hallway. So.
This guy.
It very easily could have been Cornelius living in that big old house with Webster and George Papadopoulos and Ma'am.
Funny. I'd be fine with that.
And the dumb waiter.
We see Doc. Doc is checking Harold's back injury while Joe is encouraging Harold to ham it up. That's what I call it. Ham it up. Doc says he has a slight bruise, but that's about it. As Doc is leaving, Rita enters the room, and Harold leans up to hug her, forgetting that he has a fake back injury. At
Doc
this point,
Doc kind of he calls BS just like Isaac did.
Of course he did.
But then he kind of retreats from that at points.
Stupid. Because Doc
doesn't care.
He doesn't care. What are you? I don't care about this man's injury. Who gives it? Who gives a rat's ass? Where's the injured lady? What the hell is this? Come on, get out of here! You're wasting my time, Rita. Hey, he doesn't have
That's the
time
only
for
reason
this
he's in
dude.
the room.
Yeah, here, get in the chair. Let me give you a shove. And when he finally is in a wheelchair, you don't see anybody initially pushing him either. He's doing it on his own.
Yeah.
They got time for him.
Classic spinal injury move.
Yeah.
Like,
He might not be able to play at Wimbledon next year, basically, is what we're saying. David Doyle.
ugh.
Here we go.
You know, I'm going to call it right now. And Jamie, this is another thing we've added since you've been on. We have an awards show at the end of the season. And one of our categories is the worst. And I got to tell you, I think Dave's getting an early nomination. Dave is the worst.
Yeah, he's
we're in the beginning of Act 2, and we've already seen the best of Dave.
Yeah, it doesn't get any. You're absolutely right. It doesn't get any better for Dave. Wow, it's a steep fall for Captain Doyle. Over champagne, Laura tells David that they have something else to celebrate. This is ridiculous. She had to know he was going to flip out. She tells him she was offered a new job, and I wrote, David is none too pleased with this news. He said, I thought you'd be spending more time at home since I'm back. And then the line of the episode, in my opinion, he says,
guarantee I have it written down too.
The thing you're best at is being my wife.
And then, just in case, you know, she wasn't feeling great enough about that, he's like, I tell everybody about your great pot roast, and your ass is pretty good too, basically. It's like, come on, man.
You're great at laundry, and you always take the garbage out when I ask you to. Like all these terrible.
Yeah.
Like, this woman just got offered to be the store buyer at what I've been told is a store in the city.
Big city.
So, come on,
it's
Dave.
a big deal.
You know, Dave, you didn't go to war in 1940 and come back in 1978. You went to war in 1976.
Yeah, what was
that different?
What was the single digit on the back of the war that you served in, Dave? Wasn't a 1, wasn't a 2, Dave. Wasn't a 1, wasn't a 2. So, did you get back from? Oh, it wasn't Korea. Okay, no.
Turkey.
You look fine to me, Dave. You don't look any damaged at all.
Yeah. Did they kill all the barbers?
He went to Canada because he didn't want to go. That's why. That's why he's got like.
Yeah, why he looks like Guy Lafleur.
It's quite the. I mean, good for him. We see Doc and Steubing and Julie and Gopher. They're in Steubing's office talking about Harold's injury. They want to find a way to make him, Isaac's there as well. They want to find a way to make him stand up. Worst idea ever. Gopher says to sneak into his cabin and play the national anthem, which made me giggle a little bit, but that's probably the worst idea ever. Isaac says putting prune juice in his pina colada. That was kind of funny.
I guess that's why they brought the bartender in to discuss the medical issues of a passenger.
Or how do we get rid of him and put him in the freezer so he's just ixnay on the accident day, you know?
I mean,
or however
at the end of the day, Isaac has the best tact of all of them.
With the champagne. Yeah, he knew what was up.
Yeah. 10 times better than whatever the hell that heart attack thing was later.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So do you think, I know what you're going to say, Mike, because Jamie, I'll ask you, do you think that Steubing, while foolish for believing this man was actually injured, is doing the smart business thing as a leader? You have to at least assume that the guy is telling the truth just in case.
Like, does he actually believe it, or he's just being pragmatic and like, oh, this is how we have to treat this to avoid an even worse lawsuit or something?
Because I imagine it's on Steubing's bonus, right? If there's like 6 lawsuits against your ship, that's probably coming out of his back end. So I think Steubing's just playing the smart play here.
Yeah, I mean, nothing in his act, like he's selling it that he thinks that, you know, it's real, it's a real injury, but it does seem like.
Listen.
Season 2, I've decided I'm going to stick up for Steubing more, so get ready.
I just don't think that you can't. you can't assign him like actions or actions taken or actions that could potentially be taken, right, to him, to Steubing himself. Like, to me, you have to separate Steubing from the role of a captain, right? And what I'm saying is Steubing is a fool, right? And then there's a captain. Somebody else is running the ship that we have not met yet. We don't know the real. I wanted to meet the real captain. I would bet that it's Steubing's dad up there. Stubby's secretly.
Oh, wow.
You never see anything.
Well,
So to me,
I don't want
Steubing's
to go
just.
back on. I don't want to go back on what I said immediately, but I mean, he did say he was off duty, and it was like bright sunshine, so
Oh, off duty like every day.
like noon.
Yeah, but what captain's off duty and going to go? Yeah, let me go stroll around the pool.
This guy went off duty for 2 hours a couple weeks ago, and a hurricane almost took the boat out, and they got marooned and held hostage.
Yeah, we haven't learned anything. I think it's just for the sake of the story, I get it, but just Steubing's just he's just such a fool. He's just a fool. What was the question? It just irritates me.
You're gonna hate later.
No, I know. There's a whole yeah. No, I know what you're saying already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Let me check my watch. It's 8 p.m. It's 5 hours later. Day one. Time for another date. It's Vinny and Bonnie this time. Vinny is now dressed as a ringmaster for some reason, not to be confused with the ringmaster. Completely different thing. He is dressed as a ringmaster. Says to Bonnie, all men are not made of stone. You darn right I cried. I learned something from it. You can't be afraid. You could be running from something right. Dude, he is just, look at this guy. Just laying it on. Bonnie says, I've always been afraid. I'm still afraid. She walks away. That's woman number 2 to walk away. But now he knows that he has her in his spell.
Yeah, and Bonnie definitely talked a lot about being single, which might be why Bonnie is single a lot. But you're right. He's, you know what it is? You ever see like one of those like card hustler movies or whatever, like Rounders or something like that, and the guy loses the first couple hands because he's just picking up tells.
Yeah, he's just setting it up. Yeah.
I'm really starting to think that McNair's a womanizer. I think I've already flipped over.
You miss like the after Love Boat episode when all the women check their purse and they're like, I'm missing a large sum of cash. So am I. So am I. He's Jim Neighbors' accomplice, basically. He came back to get more.
Oh, McNair, you stole my wall.
That's why he's so quick with the fake names. Who knows what his name really is? They say Alvin, but that's just what he told somebody else.
It's actual Bosley.
That's funny. Or it's just the actor. This is how the normal actor is in his life. He's just this guy.
Are we shooting?
What? I'm getting paid for this? This is great.
It's great. This is great.
Harold and Gina are in Harold's cabin. They are smooching until we hear a knock on the cabin door. It's Isaac. The captain had ordered ordered Isaac to send the finest bottle of domestic champagne that we have. Harold says he can't sit up to drink. Isaac puts a funnel in his mouth, opens the champagne, and dumps it all over Harold. Harold sits up. Says the cold champagne made his back worse. And Isaac says, it makes your case worse.
Yep.
Wah, wah. Great. Commercial.
Great. Once again, they didn't give Isaac enough to do, but he was great.
He's great.
In all his stuff.
He's great.
Physical comedy with the bottle.
Yeah. And I like him being like wise to this BS, right?
Yeah.
Like
he's a bartender. He's seen it all.
Exactly. We're finally starting to see him be an actual street smart bartender who's seen some scamming in his day.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why he's wearing that sort of like coral jacket. After his promotion, after saving the ship, I wonder if he just doesn't wear the red one. He has this, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a brownish coral.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
I don't
had
know
some
that
sort of
that was.
promotion,
You think
but
that was what the promotion was? Just the
yeah.
jacket?
You're like, get rid of that bright, awesome red jacket. For what? This coralish, sort of brownish jacket to replace it with.
I do feel like we have not seen great evidence of his promotion since the first episode of the season.
Maybe it was just pay. Maybe that's what it was.
That's how you
Who
got the
knows?
champagne.
Yeah, domestic. Harold and Gina, and Harold's K. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's time for date number 3. McNeil and Anita. By the way, McNeil is still dressed as a ringmaster.
We didn't have time to get changed in between those two
And
dates.
why? And the thing is, it looked like somebody was looking through a telescope at them. Did you
You know
see
what's
it?
that's so funny? Michelle was
What is
watching it.
this?
Michelle was watching that scene and said the exact same thing. Like she's
So
like, "Is that a choice?" So it must have been a mistake.
Well, I don't know, because later on, one of those women had a camera in her hand. And I thought she was going to be the one to spoil it because she had a camera in her hand relating to that lake. But they never. I was wild. It was wild. I don't know why.
Sniper was
Yeah,
McNair
no kidding.
is wrong the wrong person one too many
Pacific
times.
Princess Sniper. Nobody wants that.
Can't believe I've been shot in the heart. It's my most valuable asset, my heart.
My stunning tuxedos are ruined.
It was what's his name? Dave or whatever his name is.
David Doyle.
Dave's got PTSD.
Yeah.
He hits the deck. Just pees his pants immediately. Just off. I don't know what to do. Laura's like, you're falling to pieces.
I never left the airport.
Yeah. That's funny.
I've been AWOL in Manitoba.
Look at my hair. Look at my t-shirt. Look. It's not a Hanes. The brand is
the
Sorry.
hairstyle of the captain.
So we see David Doyle and Laura. Here we go. Now again. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. We're looking through the telescope. I'm sorry.
Yep.
But we also see McNeil. He takes out a bottle of champagne and a can of oysters.
Yep.
That's the presentation. That's the move. Like
it worked.
This is sardines.
This is the first time we've seen oysters, I think, or had an oyster reference. But I feel like we are in the era of television where oysters means one thing, and like they couldn't say a lot of stuff on TV, but they roll those oysters out, baby. People know it's time to go.
They didn't even show them eating them. They didn't even have to open the can. They were just hold up the
just the presence of oysters.
10 p.m. date plus oysters.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
You said
honey.
The last episode when you were on before, you mentioned like back then the universal sign for people that had just had sex was like you see people getting dressed.
Yep.
Yeah, you see that. And see now we have oysters beforehand, and then you're probably going to get that. That's interesting. He just showed the can, and she was like, "Whatever, let's go.
Yep, let's go.
Let's go. Don't even open it."
When's your next date?
Jeez. David Doyle and Laura, they're smooching as they enter their cabin. It's funny, they smooch when they're not in the cabin. When they get in the cabin, it's all deep conversations. I would be like, hey guys, can we just before you start
or just live in the hallway.
Yeah, just live in the hall.
That's where your happiness is.
Live in the hallway.
Exhibitionists.
Yeah, just always smooching in a corner, a well-lit corner. Like, what are you doing? Why? David says, didn't we plan on having a family when we were 24? And again, this is where we hear when they're 24. And she says, yeah, but we were 16 when we made those plans.
You idiot.
Yeah, you dummy. Like, didn't you learn anything in your 2 years in Turkey?
Hey, did we plan on you being in Turkey for 2 years when we were 16?
No Probably kidding. Not. Basically, so she does not want to have the baby right now after caring for her mother for the past 2 years. She wants time to spend with David right now. Here we go, man. He just starts moping like a hardcore mope.
Oh, he does the long look over the shoulder. Like, yeah.
He told that cameraman, he's like, you better zoom in on these crystal blues.
That's an
You better
Oyster.
zoom
Don't
in.
you cut. Don't you cut.
Yeah, don't you cut. I won't blink. You don't you cut. You just keep filming.
He's just singing the "It Is Enough" theme in his head. He's so mad.
Yeah. So he starts to mope and they hug as Laura tries to make him feel better. But as Mike said, he's doing the over the shoulder into the camera. It could be I'm so miserable. It could be anything. It's some sort of hurt.
So Bess Armstrong was the love interest of Dennis Quaid in Jaws 3D back in the early 80s. And I think the shark was less dangerous than her staying with Captain Dave Stratton. This is, as we've said, it's only going to get worse from here. But if this is your go-to reaction to anything that is out of your weird ass plan from 8 years ago, it's probably not going to go well.
Maybe he's just crazy. Maybe that whole time in Turkey, he's just like, 264 days and 5 hours until we start making babies. Like maybe he's just so like solely focused on this weird plan for life at age 16.
Istanbul changes a man.
Yeah, you don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just going to be what's that?
It's like Apocalypse Now.
He's just
he's got smeared with like mud and paint.
Just that stare just everywhere.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave. Yeah, what are you doing on a cruise ship? This guy clearly is not in a mental state to be on a cruise ship. He can't.
Right.
This is the honeymoon.
Captain of men.
This is the honeymoon, and he's going to say the phrase, "Didn't we plan on having a family when we were 24?" What?
This is the honeymoon, and they're both going to turn their keys on adultery. I mean, it's
no
exactly
kidding.
Optimal here. So.
Yeah, that. Yeah. We see Isaac go for Doc and Julie. They're in Doc's office, and Isaac is explaining what happened with Harold, about how he almost jumped out of bed when the cold champagne was dumped on him. Doc says to give Harold the quote, the treatment. And apparently the crew knew what it meant. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the treatment means.
Dark shit.
Yeah, dark. It could be some awful. It's Santeria. Isaac, I want you to perform a curse on him. Like, what? That's the treatment?
Like somebody just pulls out like a cleaver or something like
that. Like this turns into like
each toenail.
Oh. Now you can't leave kind of thing. Just awful. We're back to Bonnie, Anita, and Charlotte on deck. Anita says she didn't sleep in her cabin last night. Or I'm saying Anita did not sleep in her cabin last night. She got called out. I put apparently canned oysters are a thing. She says McNair is different than other guys. Bonnie
He's
says
like a close encounter of the very best kind.
Ooh, was that number 2?
Yeah.
Right.
Whatchamacallit? This is the most egregious ADR that we've ever seen. They decided that being on an actual deck was worth it. So there's wind in their hair and they got the sun behind them. Like they clearly thought that was a good idea. But it is literally like, you didn't sleep in your cabin last night.
So bad. I thought the one from last week was bad, but this one's a little, and that was the
but that almost felt like a
Schwarzenegger one.
Line. This is like, oops, we forgot to plug in the microphones.
Didn't match. Everything was weird. Bonnie says that Vinny is sensitive and charming. Great. So the 2 out of the 3. Again, 2 out of the 3. Bonnie's on board. Now, again, Charlotte's the one that just was like, this is, too much for me. And he gave her his room number. So he's, he's doing his thing.
But so in our mind, right, this is day 2. This is the morning of day 2.
Yes.
Okay.
We see Harold sleeping in a wheelchair on deck. Pretty much Doc put him in that chair and put him in that spot and put him on the pay no mind list. Like, get out of here. I've got capers to solve. Now the plan is Gopher's going to fake a heart attack to try to get Harold to stand up to prove that the injury is fake. And I thought immediately, if you're going to go with the fake heart attack, you got to go with the Fred Sanford fake heart attack. You know, the Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. Like, you got to, terrible,
Hammered up.
just, yeah, you're like, awful.
This plan was stupid.
It was just dumb.
This was a stupid plan. Like, there
That's
are
why
many ways to get a guy out of a wheelchair, but hoping he's a good Samaritan with your cartoonish heart attack. Plus, there's like 50 other people right around, right? In theory, somebody else could have beaten him to it.
Sure.
It wouldn't have proved anything.
Right.
So.
What would you have done to try to get him to stand up? What's the easiest thing to do? Because immediately I think I would take a lighter under his butt in the wheelchair.
Throw a snake at him.
Throw a snake at him. That's a good one. That would, well, that's a really good one, actually. They didn't have the budget, though. They didn't have the budget for snakes. Apparently, it would have looked real low.
I mean, I guess the answer is find an attractive blonde woman.
Rita's a plant, basically. Yeah. That's why I don't think it worked out.
She's pretending
undercover
to be,
insurance.
Pretending to be dumb, which, I mean, that's that trope.
Yeah,
that was something special.
I'm pretty sure she got through many years with that shtick. So
that was a perfect time in our century where like they loved that late 70s, early 80s. Like that's all. You didn't even need to talk almost and I don't mean that in a crappy way, but there were so many movies. You know, you had the Hard Bodies. You had all those movies of early 80s where it was just. It didn't matter.
For a second, I thought she was the daughter from Too Close for Comfort, but she wasn't.
I wonder if she was in Cannonball Run.
Again, I looked, but it's like the problem with these late 70s people, if you're not 100% sure, is everybody was in everything.
Yeah, it's hard to really get it.
Like everybody's got like 300 credits, so you're really not going to find it unless.
No, that's true. Harold is ignoring this completely ridiculous fake heart attack as Rita walks by. He wheels himself towards Rita and leaves Gopher mid heart attack. Of course, Steubing sees this. And Gopher jumps up and says, "If you love my Jerry Lewis, you'll love my Dean Martin."
Everybody loves somebody. It was better than his Steubing.
Oh, well, that was that was magic. How they did the Steubing thing.
Yeah.
Steubing is off duty, and I wrote as always. And he asked David and Laura if they want to play ping pong. Again, ping pong, the greatest outdoor game to play when you're on the high seas. Because why? We have a ball, we have a paddle, we have a table and a net. What could go wrong? Outdoors.
Badminton.
That's
like
lawn darts could be bad
kite
too.
Flying.
Yeah. Kite flying, exactly. Balance beam. Amazing. David says no because he's too mopey to play windy ping pong, but Laura accepts.
But did you notice what he said? He said, "No, we're gonna catch some rays." He was answering for her.
Yeah.
Well, he's being commanding again, wasn't he?
No, he's being a dick again.
He's being a dick. He's a dick. He is a bit of a.
It's just that's what I'm saying. Like that's the difference between writing and good writing. Little things like that, where it's just like, oh, this guy is a jerk all the time. We're not just like highlighting it, like so.
And it's funny because all it does is just make Laura look better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a result of him being, you're like, you don't want her to be. She just wants like I go by the best thing that could have happened to both of them is they could have gone their separate ways.
Yes.
He wants a doormat. Yeah, but just looking out for Laura. They walk to the ping pong table and Laura tells Steubing that she needs to talk to him because, of course, everyone talks to Steubing to get his advice because he's a friggin' sea captain. You should be able to go to a sea captain and get some decent advice. Why not a beard? Why not have a guy in here with like a sea beard? You know what I mean? Like a classic looking captain with like a corncob pipe. How did this guy get the role? I don't understand. Like he doesn't come across very captainly.
That's your new complaint. Doesn't have a sea beard.
It just, I mean, it would help. It would help. It would give him a lot of sea cred, as they say. I'm just saying. I think it would fill in the blank when they sort of portray him as this weak sort of captain.
Doddering old man.
Yeah, at least you got the beard to fall back on. Just saying. They walk to the ping pong table. She says that she wants to be married to David, but wants the chance to do things on her own. Steuben gives her the worst advice you would ever give anybody. If you should ask for what you want or you won't get it. What is wrong with you?
What?
How about he just Badinsky and just stays out of saying something that has something to do with his godson? He's just setting up. He must not like his godson.
Wait a minute. You just got to ask for what you want. So.
It's just what? Just setting up his godson for this huge confrontation. Nice going, Meryl.
Now, you are really not going to agree with my hypothesis at the end that this is Steuben's finest hour.
We'll see. Charlotte, the one he hasn't who kind of walked away from him, says she wasn't ready for all this, is in the hallway with an issue with her dress. Here comes Cornelius. He's been sitting there all day. He planted that. He planted that issue with her dress. She asked him to help, says they should go into her cabin, blah, blah, blah. They start smooching. And I put Alvin McNair is now 2 out of 3. Confirmed.
So Alvin McNair is wearing a light blue dress shirt with a gigantic white collar. Yeah. It's got white stripes on the side like it's a racing car. And then he's got these pocket squares that are all white. It is the ugliest outfit. It is uglier than anything Isaac wore in this season so far. It is a rough look.
I think it's more function, to be honest with you. Right? He's got these crazy sex outfits on, right? With all these hidden pockets. He's pulling all kinds of stuff out of his pockets with these ladies. Just give me a second, ladies. And he opens his vest. He's got this. And did someone need a lighter? Did someone get a lighter handy? And he pulls it out of here. It's functional fashion. I mean, it is the 70s. I mean, good look.
You think he's just walking up and down the hallway looking for women to button up?
Oh, yeah. He's got bags of yayo inside that vest. He knows what's going on. It's the 70s. Come on.
He hasn't slept.
He doesn't. I can't sleep. I have a date every 2 or 5 hours.
No time to rest. Do you know how long it takes me to get out of this safari outfit?
It's like I'm afraid if I stop, my heart's going to stop. I got to keep this train going. Perpetual motion.
I had 3 suitcases filled with unopened oyster cans.
Oyster cans in bad costumes he got at a discount store. I'll take 1 ringmaster. I'll take a weird sweaty suit blue thing. I'll take sex clothes. We see Charlotte, of course, now, Jamie, like you said, she's brushing her hair, aka they just made whoopee, right? Tells Cornelius that she'd like him to meet her friends over drinks at 6. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Anita and Bonnie are now knocking on the door. Uh-oh. And Alvin realizes what's going on.
Why did they announce themselves other than plot? Like, why did they announce themselves to their friend?
Weren't they supposed to be all sharing a room? Wasn't that it? Maybe I got that. Maybe that was
no.
Maybe that's just me.
I thought they were. I thought they were too.
Yeah.
In the beginning, because it was like, oh, you didn't sleep in your bed last night. I thought, like, I took that to mean.
The only thing I can think is the 2 of them were staying in one room, and the other one was in another.
Yeah.
But I did the same thought exercise to figure out if they were in the same room or not, because it wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If they were, so.
That was just wild. And she said, like, "Oh, I've got a man." Like, I was like, "Wow, you can't think on your feet at all, ma'am." She was just like, "I've got a man in here right now," and blah 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 blah. Blah. Like, whoa,
Yeah, like
okay,
2 days ago, you're like my poor dead husband, and now you're
yeah.
just like,
Who?
right,
Who?
Al who?
Who? Who's Roger? Well, I don't know. We
Have you
see
seen this blue and white number?
he's just nothing. And she, you know what she does? She lays down that giant picture she packed, like in the other episodes. This like luggage size photo. I'm sorry, Jack. Good
Put
night,
that
Jack.
picture away.
Put that picture away. We see Dave and Laura on deck. Stupid Dave. Laura, I'd like to, since she wants, here, okay, so let's regroup here. Let's level set. We're coming off
Yep.
her asking for advice from Steubing. Steubing says, you got to ask for what you want or you'll never get it.
Right, the best advice.
So here we go. All hot off of that pearl of wisdom. She says, I'd like to wait a while to start a family. And she really wants that job she told David about. This does not sit well with David. David, in his cold-blooded killer eyes, tells her, "You're a stranger now.
I don't even know you anymore.
I don't even know you anymore." It says both of them have had 2 years to think about what they really want. Then David admits to cheating on Laura.
He went to that fast, right?
Yeah, that was
Like
quick.
he wasn't backed into a
quick.
corner by Lauren there.
No, I don't even know why he said it because like she had already initiated this sort of point about waiting to start a family and taking a job. He could have stayed
Right.
in opposition to that.
He could have stood
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
need to bring new evidence that had nothing to do with the current court case. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like if the OJ thing, he's like,
What
"Oh, and I
else
speed
did?
all the time. I drive so fast on this between this road and this road. It's 5 o'clock every day." Like, what? Yeah, he admits to cheating on Laura. Laura also admits to cheating. I didn't see that coming.
No.
I didn't see
No.
that coming.
They didn't let it. It was funny because if you look at it, right, it's like that's probably how it would go. Like honestly, that's probably how it would go.
Yeah, I get that.
If you both had done it, this is weighing on her mind too. Whatever. But they didn't give it any time to breathe, which was
Oh, well,
like
they were
a
running out
TV
of time on the episode. Yeah, we were like 38 minutes in.
yeah. But Dave's reaction is so great after she's like, "I was human too," and he's like,
Dude, I thought he was gonna throw her off the boat,
like,
dude.
he's like, "What?
What?
What did you? What did you say to me?" Like, it was just like this psychopath, absolute psychopath. Oh my god, run,
Yeah, I thought
Laura,
something was
run.
gonna run.
Run.
Just jump off the boat. Do something.
I'm sure that Bloomingdale's you work at has a store in like Hong Kong. Get the hell out of
Change
the
your
country.
name, Laura. Yeah, David's a bit of a lunatic. He may be on the boat,
Sleeping
but
with the enemy.
a big part of David's still in Turkey. Gobble gobble.
I have in all caps. Hot turkey action.
Turkey action. Here comes Steubing.
Who was what? Just waiting behind the door?
Just lurking. Because he's
Listen,
off duty.
Everywhere.
He's still off duty. Laura says, I was honest with David and I just blew my life. I wrote, great job, Steubing. Great job.
I don't know, though. I mean, to me, if you're Laura, did you? I mean, divorced in 1978, you got that sweet job.
I'd be like, well, what do you want? She just said she didn't want to have a family. He wants to have a family. Okay, disconnect. She wants to take that job. Clear. Again, the best thing that could have happened is for one of them to get off at Mazatlan or whatever that is.
Never come back.
And
Land
that's
of the
it.
year.
Get a flight somewhere else and stop the bleeding, man.
Yeah.
Enough's enough. All right. Alvin Sexpot McNeil is on deck. This guy's great. He asked Doc if there's a way they can get off the ship. And then I'm like, wait, didn't they just dock in Mazatlan?
Literally. You can just go down the
2
ramp.
seconds? Yeah. Just you walk. You can walk. You don't have to come. We're not going to make you come back on the boat.
None of these shoes are made for walking.
Yeah. Well, it's such a steep walkway to get to the Mazatlan.
I have 7 dates.
Terrible. My body's riddled with venereal diseases.
Just in the garbage now. I I think I had it like a couple hours ago. I definitely don't have it now.
I can see where it goes. Well, now it's just silly. You know, now we're just doing Daffy Duck.
Yep. Fucker and fucking dash.
You know, Doc tells him that the three ladies that Alvin is involved in here, that Alvin is involved in, are all in the same cabin.
Yeah. So, did she hang a sock on the door?
I don't think she knew. I didn't think she knew Hurricane Alvin was about to, you know. Oh, hello. I've been stalking you for minutes.
Did he hang a sock on the door?
Maybe he puts
Does
his own sock. I bring my own sock to put on the door.
He just
You'll need
always
this.
hangs the sock on the door.
Anytime he enters the room, he puts the sock.
You never know. Faith and sorry. That's what I always say.
I'm super spontaneous. You never know. I'm like a spark plug. Oh boy. So Alvin says that he loves them all. And I'm sure Doc's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I do too. Doc tells Alvin to still level with him, which again, I'm like, wait, isn't this the same advice that just backfired with Dave and Laura that was delivered by is this the only advice that like officers on this cruise can give is, you know, just be honest?
Well, here's the thing though. If it is the same advice,
yeah,
McNeil didn't take it.
Nope, you're right.
And it worked out great for him.
Yeah, it worked out perfect.
Yeah. So
he just shut his mouth.
That's right. Well, like he said later, he's like, I'm going to have to play out this hand.
Remember when he's laying in the bed when he got away with it and he was just like, huge smile. Yep. He's like, I want to be like, he's like, this is what makes it all worth it. Yep. I'm booking another cruise right now.
Right. I'm waking up clean as a whistle.
Oh, awful. So we see Alvin again. There's a commercial. Alvin's back. He's back in his ringmaster costume. Charlotte's joining him. I think they're drinking some champagne. Enter Bonnie and Anita. They see Charlotte smooching Alvin, and they leave the dining room. Doc says, how's it going? And Alvin says that Charlotte is waiting for him in his cabin. He's supposed to meet Anita and Bonnie in a little bit. And he says, like you said, Mike, he's going to play this thing out until the end.
Yeah, he didn't
which
really
indicates
take Doc's initial advice because he's made dates with all of them again. Like he just
well, he might as well say like, what are they gonna do? Oh, they're gonna be mad. Ooh, be mad. Ooh.
Like, do you think he's looking for, you know, menage a four?
He did no. You got to think that he is of a certain time. He's like, I don't have time for all that nonsense. You know, you only live once.
Out? He's like he's going with heat rules. You gotta be able to walk away.
Just standard. You know what I mean? Just, you know, like American style. You know, just I just like it super standard. You know, nothing crazy. So he so you see Rita massaging Harold's shoulders. Harold's still in the wheelchair. Harold stands up and they start smooching. And Harold tells Rita what's really going on about faking the injury. Rita calls him a faker and leaves the cabin. Stupid Harold chases after Rita. Good Lord. And he's pretty much tackled by his brother Joe in the hallway, which would have been funny if then he got the legit back injury from the, you know, very sloppy form tackle by Joe.
Yeah.
Steubing sees Harold in the ground and wants to know what happened. And Joe explained that he left Harold alone and he fell off the chair, but there's no chair in sight. Anyway, we're back to Alvin again. Here we go. Alvin heads to his cabin to meet Charlotte. He's probably like, he's pulling out all his, you know, his Sex Panther sense, hidden pockets in his ringmaster costume.
Extra oysters.
Lots of ting ting. His pants are jingling with oyster cans.
Little oyster dispenser like Pez.
He's got cases. It was like he shopped at Costco before there was a Costco. Just oysters and like, you know, Brute. You know, just whatever the cheap cologne was in 1978.
Oh God, the Oyster Pez dispenser.
Oyster Pez. Yes, hello, lady. Would you like to sample something, ladies?
Oh man.
God, that's fine. Alvin heads to his cabin. The lights are off. Comes in. Lights come on. They do this a lot in wrestling shows, and it's like Sabu has come back out of it. And I'm just like, it's just a couple of ladies. I got excited. They're sitting in his cabin. He says to them that he fell in love 3 times, and somehow the ladies aren't mad, and they say that because he was honest with them from the start. Even though, what about the 3 different names? We're not even going to address that there's 3 different names. Like, doesn't that go hand in hand with honesty a little bit? Maybe no.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
They're not aware.
I don't know. I'm confused. I did think it was true that they hit on him as much as he hit on them. I also think I've learned throughout the episode that he definitely had intentions.
Yeah, of course.
But ultimately, I think this is just a bunch of people in their 40s having a good time, man.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, pretty much. I think so.
Late 70s, changing notions of monogamy or whatever, female empowerment. Like, you're just like, I get to choose as much as anyone else.
Yeah.
And in a way, too, that's why I was kind of torn about it. It's weird, though, because on one hand, I can look and go, it's what he wanted. It's kind of what they needed, in a sense. But then he kind of ruins it, when he's alone in the room because he's so happy with this outcome. And he's almost like dancing by himself. He's so happy about it.
That's where I thought,
sits and he's a little sad.
That's where I thought he was going to end up with one of them, because they did have that scene at the end where he's kind of just sitting there quietly. I thought he was going to go after one of the women, but instead he just kind of was like on to the next
new.
One,
yeah, just like a beaver. He just got to keep on building dams. He can't stop. He can't help it.
I guess I like it, and this comes from watching all these episodes now. I guess I like it in that it was different and it was nuanced. We always talk about that, right? Where it wasn't black and white.
I agree.
It's kind of vague. You can kind of decide for your own, but it wasn't like the women like calling the guy out, but then forgiving him. Like everybody was everything was above board, I think, for everybody.
They didn't play it the easy way. They could have gone that easy way, and they were smacking him around or whatever. I agree. And I think the fact that you had 3 characters in those ladies, I think it makes it a bit more nuanced, but the way it's handled, because each one had an individual sort of story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was well done, and it was different. I haven't seen one of those stories.
Yeah.
I did refer to him as Teflon Alvin after a bit.
And I don't regret 1 minute of it.
Yeah.
Love it.
We see mean old David in Stubing's office. Because Stubing's a guy to come to for everything. David says it's over with Laura because she cheated on him. Then he says, but I cheated on her too. And then Stubing, because he says, I have a really big. Actually, this is a big issue. He says to learn from it and go past it, and to talk to Laura, and says the phrase, "Don't lose her like I lost Stacy."
Yep.
Wait a minute.
Massive.
He didn't lose Stacy. He chose the C, right. Which again is the words to what song? Mandy, right?
Brandy. Thoughts? So first of all, Stubing goes into the office and Dave leads with Laura cheated.
Right.
Which again is just reflective of how he's handling all this.
Well, he's only bringing the good grades home.
He's the victim and all that stuff. Anyway, so Stubing calls him on that. So I think Stubing should get points for that.
Fair enough.
This is only the second plot point in 27 episodes that has made it to a second episode. Doc's divorces is the only other time we've heard anything from a previous episode actually get referenced. So Stacy Stubing, all the way back in episode 1, gets brought up. And I think, Mike, they might be trying to lay the groundwork for the daughter coming. That's my official guess. Something's up with that. Because why would all of a sudden they drop Stacy Stubing's name after a season and a half, basically.
And the issue with Stacy, Jamie, to catch you up on their story was like the words Brandy.
Yeah.
He chose the sea. That's the story of Captain Steubing. He had
Did
her
we see it,
Stacy.
or he just told? Did we actually see her, or did he just tell us about
She's
it?
on the ship with her new husband. So,
And then he actually does a story to Doc where he's like, I chose the sea over my wife. And yeah, and so this is the first reference to that since, which was the first episode.
but it's weird to say it. Don't lose her like I lost Stacy. Like you're associating that her with this bananas issue that, you know what I mean? He's sort of being loosey goosey with, because that's not what happened. I get that, but like, nice. You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. There's no way that they had to bring it up. They had to bring it up.
Yeah.
So does that mean she's going to be back? Is she back?
I don't know. But they have to explain a daughter out of nowhere, so you might as well start bringing up the ex-wife.
It just was odd because I was like, wait. There was a major continuity break here.
So far, it still jives. The daughter's not going to jive.
It could.
The daughter's not going to jive. But that's her episode 6.
Boy, I can't wait. David enters his cabin. Laura's in bed after these words of wisdom. Another pearl. Thanks, Meryl. David apologizes to Laura and asks for another chance. They smooch. That's it. It's so dumb. Harold, still in a wheelchair, is exiting the ship with Joe. They're wrapping it all up. Rita's walking down the stairs and falls down maybe one step. She falls down. Harold gets up right in front of the crew, runs over to help Rita. Joe says to forget about the lawsuit. No harm, no foul. David and Laura, they thank Steubing. And David and Steubing salute each other. I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you? A couple of captains.
That's the dumbest thing in the world. It's so dumb. You're indoors. Like one dude's looking like, David Cassidy, and the other guy, and normally the captain does a 2-finger salute. And that was it, basically. That is episode 28. I'm sorry, that is episode 3, season 2 of The Love Boat.
Right. Yeah. The McNair gets right back on the horse, and starts hitting on somebody, and all the older ladies are there. And Brett Summers at one point just points. She's just like, she points for like an hour while he's hitting on it. But he's right back into it. So
if he's nothing, he's consistent.
Yeah, and he got away. If there was anything to get away with, he got away with it.
Absolutely.
So do you think what happens first? Dave and Laura get divorced, or Dave gets fragged by his unit?
I'm gonna go with option B. I'm gonna go strong on option B. Yeah, absolutely. That guy.
Yeah.
He's not all there either.
That guy was a piece of work.
Yeah,
all right,
he was. Nobody needs that. Yeah.
Tills and a recap. King of the Mountain. I think this is better than last week.
I think it's better than last week.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun episode.
I think this is our current leader, which doesn't mean much because it's still early in the season. But
yeah, I agree. I think it's up there. But again, like you said, there's 3 episodes.
Jamie, of the 3 storylines, how many hit for you?
I don't care for the fake injury.
Yeah.
That's the weak one in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was supposed to be a little bit more comedic, like the comedic relief in the other 2 more serious stories. This one has, flopping around, I fell kind of humor. I spilled the champagne on you. And Sonny Bono, I guess, just conveys comedy in some way.
Yeah.
And I like so the other 2 I would say were a hit for me. I I like the three ladies in the cruise ship Casanova. I feel like that was a kind of a bold storyline for the time, maybe even still.
Yeah.
But, kind of play it that way, play it in a non-traditional way, and yeah.
I thought it was interesting because I think we've seen episodes like this where there's a silly story, there's a romantic story, and then there's their attempt at like a serious story. And I think that's what they tried to do. I generally don't like the silly ones like ever. This was harmless, I guess. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. It was fine. But I thought it was like, if that's your floor for a Love Boat episode, I think we'd probably take it versus some of the crap we saw at the end of last season.
Well, let me ask you, in terms of like silly storylines, you have this one, the wheelchair, let's just call it, the accident.
Yeah.
And then you have the painters.
Oh, the painters is better.
I felt like it was a lot better. The painters.
Yes.
They did a similar, but so I feel like it's hit or miss. But when it's a hit, it's really good.
But
obviously.
Yeah. Okay, but conversely, the dog is a silly one.
Yeah.
The monkey is a silly one. Like, they can go real. The prankster was a silly one.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
it's a fine line.
I think I'll take this kind of harmless. It wasn't on that much.
No.
Really. But it's not like I'm not like going to remember where I was when I saw Marty Eagles and Sonny Bono wrestling in the hallway. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
Captain of the week, Mike. Who's your captain of the week?
Captain of the week. I mean, how can it be anybody but Alvin Sexpot McNeil? I mean, come on. There's nobody else it could be.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Jamie, what was the best part of this week for you?
I'm gonna take a slightly different. Is the three ladies? I thought they, for some older women in 1978, were really flipping the script and not being hurt by that situation, but being like, no, this is what we like. Deal with it. So they're my captains.
A rare. We all will have different answers because I am going with Laura because same idea. I thought that was a very strong, female,
brave,
and really never really backed down. Got what she wanted ultimately, except I guess she wants Dave. I don't know if that's a great choice, but like that is what she wanted. But it was like we've seen male and female versions of that character kind of get snuffed out already in this show just by the weight of don't worry about it or they're there or some unearned makeup. Like, as much as I don't like Dave, he did come in at the end and say, I need to work on being a better husband. Like, that's at least something. Whether he will or not, I don't know, but it's better than most of the adultery comeuppance we've seen. So
it is true. That is true. You make a good point there because you don't see it at all.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it kind of goes unanswered.
I think Bess Anderson was actually just really good too. Like she had nice energy. That's a lot of different acting in there.
Yeah, I thought she was good.
Yeah,
I agree.
Walk the plank. Worst of the week, Jamie. Worst of the week.
Not easy.
It's not easy. I'm going to put Dave on that plank. One, he's the opposite force of the female empowerment, the evolution of ideas and about gender and whatever. He's the we decided this a long time ago. Let's stick to the plan. This is the way they did it in my father's generation. Let's stick to the plan.
Your kids by 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More flexible in his planning in the Turkish Civil War because that might have ended poorly.
Don't listen to this guy.
Yeah, I'm pushing him off.
Yeah. Mike?
I go with Harold's brother Joe because he was just an all-around, just kind of slimy kind of guy. Like he wouldn't do it himself. He wanted his obviously slightly dimmer brother to do it. he was just, and then as soon as his brother like was smooching with he was he
And he
kind of
wasn't
reminded
very
me of
good. He wasn't very good at being slimy either.
he reminded me of Repo Man from back in
Wow.
the
Yeah.
golden age. But yeah, I give it to Joe this week. You?
I went with Dave as well. I think it's an indication of a decent episode that it was very hard to pick worst.
Yeah.
Because some weeks it is very easy to have a
Oh
list of
yeah.
worsts, and really, like last week, it crushed us, but we hated Norman Fell, who mailed in an episode. We
Just
didn't have any of
no.
that. So, because like I said, I think the guy who played Dave did a great job.
I agree.
I really do, because I think that is kind of a lousy guy, and I think he portrayed it well. And I'm guessing that guy isn't actually a lousy guy if he's singing "It Is Enough" theme. But
I'm surprised they let him sing. That's usually a given if they're trying to get their,
maybe he'll
getting
be
some.
maybe he'll be back. I wanted to bring up one thing
Yeah.
since I hinted at it. If this was the version of Steubing they land on, would you be okay with it? Where he's a little fatherly, kind of the wise man, not necessarily always correct. And then when it comes to actual ship business, he's more of Inspector Gadget, and the crew is actually doing the stuff behind the scenes.
Would I accept that?
Like, if that's where they land, I thought this was a good Steubing episode. I know you don't agree, but I
It
thought
it,
this
it
was a good.
depends. It depends. We've had this. We've talked about it before, where I don't want Steubing to be Commandant Lassard from Police Academy. I don't want him to be the bumbling, and he's not. It's not at that level. But if you're going to be the one to give out advice, how about you give out some good advice, or just don't give out advice, or just you have so much to do. How about just worry about It's just I just don't. He just drives me crazy. He just drives me nuts, and
I
it
know he
just
does.
the lack of continuity, and he'll be different next week.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And he goes against military like tradition. He wears his hat inside. He takes it off when he's outside. He salutes with two fingers. He's all over the place.
Killer
So
ping pong serve though.
in the wind, I think everyone has a killer ping pong serve, or no one actually. No,
I just love the fact that we have landed on a project that requires you to watch a character, the lead character, that you cannot stand, and we are nowhere close to done, and he will be in every episode. Like, it's not like, oh, I hate this character who's a
until his
supporting guy.
replacement shows up. Yeah, in a couple, never.
Nope.
Well,
I'll
just gonna
say
have to.
from an outsider's perspective, someone who's only seen 2 episodes, like he's not that bad. But I love that you hate him. That's more entertaining than his character is.
And the thing is, I'm not completely always. I'm not always sold on feeling that way. I don't want to feel that way. But he does it to he does it to
Doesn't do
himself.
himself.
It's not, I don't want him to. I'm like, if I could, hey, Meryl, like something. I want more reasons to respect the captain. That's what I'm saying. They ought to, if they're going to give you the bad advice and the goofy and go check the roof from the outside in a
That was
hurricane.
stupid. That was
Then you,
not a good. That was
then, you-
not a good Steubing episode.
then they have to feed you some like acts of responsibility too to pepper it in to balance the character. He's
Do you
always an
need him to
idiot,
like?
then he's always
Do
an
you need
idiot.
like to save the cat for him? Do you need him to like do a heroic thing?
It's like save a pelican, like stuck in the communication line,
I don't know.
something like that.
Maybe one of the women decides that they've had enough of the cruise ship Casanova, and they take a shot at him. And Steubing like grabs their hands and puts the gun down or something.
I'm sure he knows judo, just like a William Shatner type in the 70s. I think everybody knew judo in the 70s. So, yeah, miss something. Just give me something. It doesn't even have to be that big. Just pepper in some acts of responsibility to remind you he's a captain, to balance out the hijinks and the terrible advice he doles out. That's all.
Reminding you that he was off duty didn't make you think he was the captain this week.
He's always off duty. He's ridiculous.
That's totals and a recap for this week.
Well, it's my favorite time of the episode We're going to check the old mailbag. Give me just a second to open it. We just reload it. We refresh it.
Make sure your internet's plugged in.
Yeah, it's plugged in. Maybe it's a. You can email us at theloveboatproject at gmail.com. Another week of no emails. And I have to say, Canada, I feel like you really dropped the ball. We asked last season where the Canadian Walk of Fame was. It was a Monty Hall question.
Hall, yeah.
It's not too late, Canada. Just email us. Or don't. At this point, don't. But
is it funnier now if no one emails, or if one person emails, or if we start actually getting emails?
I think it's funny. I think it's funnier at the end of this project if we get one email.
I hate your show.
Yeah, I hate your show. I'm so glad it's over.
I waited till the end. It's
Captain
terrible.
Stubing's grandchildren are ready. How dare you?
Or it's a list of 1,000 questions, episode by episode. Here you go.
You said this.
You said in episode 6 that his left hand was.
Any plugs, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely hammered on Hidden Season Patreon. You can listen to us every Wednesday. Talk about your Philadelphia Phillies and other nonsense. Not love boats, though. Different nonsense.
Excellent. Anything to plug, Jamie?
No, just love and light.
Nice, I like that. You can find us on Instagram, Love Boat Project. We have a Facebook group, Love Boat Project at Facebook. Check us out. There's new reels, new things going up a couple times a week.
Don't pin me down to a schedule.
Yeah, don't pin me down to a schedule, but we have stuff up there on the regular. And I will say it's so nice to be able to do a Love Boat podcast where we really can kind of dig into the episodes. You know what I mean? We don't take shortcuts. We don't play audio clips. It's not 20 minutes because honestly, I don't know how long it's been, but I'm just glad that we can sit and we can talk about an episode the way it was meant to be talked about.
I just wish we were more edgy.
There's a competitor out there, Jamie.
I've got one suggestion. Portholes. We figure out a way to.
Oh, that would be good.
That's the next iteration. Portholes.
Yeah.
Season 3.
I wouldn't have to put on a shirt that a baby didn't spit up on. That's
funny. Well, Jamie, again, thank you so much for joining us. It's always good to have you on.
My pleasure.
Start looking ahead to season 3, episode 3, Jamie.
I'm gonna start watching now, and then next time I come on, I'll be all knowledgeable and
You'll have the Iliad notes. Just
huge Stubing defender.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Point counterpoint with Stubing. Nice.
Next week, we haven't talked about the IMDb ratings in a while, but next week is the lowest rated IMDb show of the season. And I think it has red buttons in it as a creepy hornball. So.
Wow. Boy, they love going to that well, huh?
Oh, yeah. So next week will not be the best episode.
Those are my favorite episodes to talk about. Oh, it's great. Fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time.